How we feeling?
Hurting a little bit.
Terrible, right?
A little bit.
Worse than Fran. Good to know. More Fran, less row intervals.
Do it better than me.
It was awful.
Awful in a different way.
All right, so for those of you that came in yesterday, one of the things we talked about is whether or not you should scale in a workout and kind of using the basics of physics, looking for force, distance, and time to calculate power. We're able to kind of quantify our effort in every single workout. And CrossFit were the first group of people to do that. And if you're interested in that topic at all, the video I posted both via email and on Facebook today. But essentially, we can take that information, we can go a little bit further because, what we're trying to develop at this gym specifically is health. The thing I care about most is your health. And we drive health through fitness. So one of the taglines for CrossFit is increased work capacity across broad time and modal domains, which for a lot of people sounds like a word salad, and I have no idea what the hell that means. So I want to explain it in layman's terms. Work capacity is simply the ability to do stuff. Stuff can be anything. Anything you do in your life is dictated by your ability to have work capacity. If you need an example of it, think of somebody who is really old in a wheelchair. How much stuff do they do? Very little. They have very little work capacity. Whereas, one of you guys can go out and do whatever you want because you develop the fitness you have in here. Broad time simply means, doesn't matter how long it is, you're ready to do it. Someone says you want to go do a marathon, you're not excited about it, you probably could do it. Someone says you want to hike a tide, cool, you can do it. Someone says help me move this fridge, cool, I can do it. All those events have different durations or time. But it doesn't matter what it is, you're ready to go. And then modal domains, it doesn't matter what it is that you're doing. Whether that's shoveling, mowing the lawn, carrying somebody, pushing something, pulling something. You're able to do that no matter what the task in front of you is. And through calculating how much did it weigh, how far did it go, and how long did it take, we can determine the power of every activity that we do. We can do that with literally everything, but we're using CrossFit as our medium for figuring out this math. So yesterday we decided, all right, we wanted to see if an athlete doing the scaled Fran did more work than the athlete doing the RX Fran. It turns out, based on their time and their speed, the scaled athlete did more work. And if we wanted to, at any given time, we could plot that on a graph, meaning just simply put that on the graph. The x-axis is how long the event took. So yesterday's Fran took 3.5 minutes. And the y-axis is how much power was generated, foot-pounds per second. So we could simply put a x at how long that took, 3.5 minutes, and then up on the y-axis of how much power it was. And we could make an X. And we could do a bunch of different activities. Fran, Diane, Grace, Isabel, Jerry the Hero workout, Murph the Hero workout, 5-mile run, 1-mile run, 5-meter run. All of these things could go on this graph. And what we could do is then we could create a trend line, and you'll notice that the longer the effort, the lower the power, which is just kind of how things work, unfortunately. I wish we could always be at full speed ahead no matter how long someone is, but we're humans. After we have kind of plotted that trend line, all of the area that's underneath that graph is technically your fitness. That's the stuff you can do. If it's anywhere in here, you know that you've done more work at whatever these durations are, so you know you can do it at that. And as a result, you have a snapshot of your work capacity, which in any given time is what I would call your fitness. So like if you want to say my fitness at 55 years old, every workout you do, you could plot that workout on this graph and figure out how much work capacity you have. And what you could do is then next year compare it against 56-year-old self and then 57-year-old self. That is where fitness turns into health. So if we have power on the y-axis and duration on the x-axis, if we extend this out in this direction, which is, I'm not a very good drawer, so I didn't do it. But if I went out into the z-axis here, meaning my lifespan, this is I'm baby and this is all the way I'm dead, in this span, I could expand that all the way out. All of the area that's underneath that curve, and forgive me, I couldn't find a towel to do this with, so I have a gross rag, so bear with me for a second. Oh. It would look like this, kind of. It comes out at you. All of the area under that curve is your health. And the fitness we're trying to develop allows us to maximize the area under that three-dimensional shape. That is our health. And the way that we do that is exactly up on that poster over there. They eat meats and vegetables, some fruit, nuts and seeds, some fruit, low starch, no sugar, and then do everything else that you do here every single day in CrossFit. Constant varied functional movements performed at high intensity. Now, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, there's a really, really cool app that we used to use, but we don't use anymore because the membership software is not great. But it's called Beyond the Whiteboard. In that app, you can put in all of your biometrics. You can figure out how far you squat every time, how far you press every time, how far the barbell travels on every deadlift, what you weigh, what the bar weighs, and you can get that power number for every single workout. And you could export all that data and do this exact same thing. Now, you might not be as nerdy as me and care that much about this, but the idea behind this is when we train the way that we do, we are trying to maximize the area under the curve, and the way that we do that relates back to last night's class. In order to get the most power done in any given workout, we have to know that every workout is an individual effort, and sometimes it makes sense to scale, and sometimes it doesn't make sense to scale. And your job is to work with us to ask us, what's going to get me the best workout today? Because scaling is often the avenue to get you the best workout, to maximize the amount of power in any given workout, which in the short term means fitness, but in the long term means health. So that kind of goes back to the whole topic of increasing work capacity across broad time and mobile domains throughout your lifespan. That's your health. Do you guys have any questions about that? I'm not the best with graphs, so if you didn't understand, that z-axis comes out this way, but essentially as much space under that as we can get. Yeah, it's fine.
Age that they say that it can't increase at like a certain, like 68, and it's really hard for it to get.
Well, so I think the trouble you get in there is you get the comparison game of a 68-year-old versus a 38-year-old. Like, they're going to be different. But the cohort against yourself, like, if you didn't do what you did now, you would be less fit than you are right now at, how old are you?
I'm 47.
Yeah, 47. So let's just imagine 3 years ago, somehow you altered a different path and you didn't come here for 3 years. You'd be very different, right? No, I mean, hormonally things change, muscle mass changes over time, but it'd be all theory. I don't know if there's an exact age, but you know, if you look at something as simple as like muscle mass, you can look at someone who's a 7-year-old triathlete and have the same level of muscle mass that someone in their 30s has. Then you can also look at another 7-year-old who doesn't do anything and they have no muscle mass. So I don't have a hard and fast answer there to like, there has to be at some point at which you are in your prime of your life, meaning like your hormones are at the highest level and then they slowly degrade, but the best thing you can do to prevent that degradation is eat the way we eat and train the way we train. Any other questions? Cool. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Hope that was fun. Tell 5 p.m. how fun that was. You're welcome.